will do this, this thing will no longer be moist. We're just gonna leave it there. I got my engine monkey right here. He's here again. And we're gonna get into some shenanigans, break some shit. I'm gonna mount the camera up on the shelf where the drill is, which is what I said last time and I never did it. I'm going to do it this time. Still didn't get my suction cup. I went up there, forgot the fucking again. So I give up. I'm just gonna mount it with a different mount, some sticky tape. It'll sit up there. It can look at the engine bay. We'll call it good. Yeah. So if you can see here, sorry if this makes noise. I went and got a tool. The magic tool. The magic tool that will hopefully get this damn harmonic balancer out, as I have actually stripped one of the holes. I'm going to hammer a bolt in there, hope for the best, and when tax money comes in, buy a new harmonic balancer. We'll see. Anyways, for now, I'm going to get episode 3 on the go. I'm going to get this tool mounted, get everything in there. I'll start shooting again once we're actually getting ready and pulling this damn this motor. So I will talk to you soon.
Alright, so here, you're going to notice the video kind of goes crappy. We were talking about a bunch of random crap that didn't really matter. This is me cramming bolts through. Remember I said before I stripped one of the bolts in the harmonic balancer. So what I've done is I use one of the bolts in the kit. They're a lot harder metal, so I was able to push one through, get the threads fixed in it. Looking for tools as always. Unfortunately with the big truck I don't have room for a bench in the front. Tommy's there inserting the pry bar to hold the balancer still in one of the vents that's in it. And I was cursing at myself for not having my electric impact, saying, I know I can hear you already. So right now I am just wrenching off the balancer. This is me adding some oil to the threads because it was getting stiff, so now they're oiled up. It's just some old stop smoke I have. So we're going to get going here, and as soon as this slows down you'll be able to hear me again, and we'll get back to normal video. But yeah, it's just me fighting with the balancer, and we'll get this off and go back to our normal video.
Ta-da! This is where you can finally hear me again, because you're not in fast forward and I don't have God knows what music I decided to pick. But there we go. Proper puller. Surprise, surprise. Off comes the balancer that I beat on a little bit. And now that I look at, oh, sorry about that. Not caring. I'll mute that too. I know it's going to be hard to see, but you can see where this actually got chewed a little bit by the crank because it jammed up. Don't forget to oil the ends of these. That's very important. You put oil inside. If I thread this in, you did see me take some oil. Of course, it's fast forwarded. But I poured a bunch of anything else, stop smoke, which is just a super thick engine oil. But I chewed the inside of this a bit, and that's because I didn't put oil in there. I got lazy, forgot about it, didn't want to thread it back out and do it all again. So I didn't do it. But it's good, it's okay. There's a little bit of chewing here, which wouldn't have happened if this hadn't caught inside. But yeah. Yay, the 2-day curse is done. So I'm going to quickly pull this part. I'm going to put you back in fast forward while I do that. And then we're going to pull the cover off, get the timing chain and everything out. I got to try and fix my 3-jaw puller that I dicked yesterday. Tried to do this without it being a proper puller. It wasn't built for that kind of force, and I kind of screwed it up. But I got a tap and die set sitting right there, and I'm going to fix it. So in the meantime, I'm going to get Tommy to start pulling some cover bolts, and we're just going to carry on. Alright?
Alright, on this last little piece of fast forward for this segment, he's just pulling the cover off. I'm getting my tool pulled apart and put away. When the next segment hits, we'll carry on with what we're doing.
So the shaft is almost out. It's big enough to two-fist. So I cut, obviously, this bracket's out. It's down there. I don't know where it bounced to. It's down there. Don't care. So I'm going to pull this out. We'll see if it fits. Again, be very gentle doing this. Right Now I've got the distributor gear there, and with millimeters to spare, there's my camshaft. It's kind of dirty, got the same kind of heat marks and stuff it'll come with from being ground. It's not corroded, it's a nice little camshaft. 35,000K. So, I'm going to pause again. Just wanted to show you me playing with my shaft. And I will be back. I'm going to go grab the other cam, and I'm just going to double check some things on it. I'll show you that on camera if you like, which I'm sure you would. Comparatively, I'll show you what the difference between this camshaft and the other one is, and all the other fun stuff. We'll compare them size for size. We'll be good.
Here's you're on my phone. I'm going to send Tommy real quick to go grab the GoPro. Hopefully it cooled down. It overheated and shut off. So now we're recording from the cell phone. Here's the hoping it doesn't fuck. If this works better, it looks like I'm going to start using my cell phone over the GoPro all the time. Either way, I'm going to grab the camshaft. Tommy's going to go grab the GoPro. We'll see if we can get that reset. And then we'll install this cam. Thank you, sir. Who can play with something? Just want to make sure we get two views here. So you can't really see all that well from there. I want to be careful. But this is the factory camshaft. This is a Comp Cams 282. XS 282 or XE, I can't remember which. It's an XS. So there is a trick with, I'm in the way. Trick with these cams. The XS actually swaps the firing order of 2 cylinders, which I believe is 5 and 7. She dead. Oh well. Well, looks like we're doing everything from the cell phone, so sorry about the shitty footage, guys. You're not going to get good vantage points because cell phones are harder to do than GoPros. So, I'm going to install this again. Just got to have it a little to the side. And as you can see, this actually fits right in where the other one was. Little bit of play I'm not too concerned about. The bearings are fairly new, fairly tight. This camshaft has about 10 passes, give or take, on it. The other gentleman that owned it before didn't like it, went to something a little less aggressive, actually. So yeah, okay, now that this is in and stable and supporting, so you're trying to slide right into the motor. And that's because I put engine assembly grease on it. You do that on every surface. So all of these lobes have assembly grease on them, and so do all the main bearing surfaces, including I did the fuel pump one, just because it might tag something, and if it's dry, it could scratch things. So I put lube on it. Just be careful. But now this is in, I'm going to rotate it, and actually wipe some of the lube off one of these lobes, and I'm going to give you guys a comparison of lobe shape from factory to what I'm putting in. Which I can't remember the actual lift. Don't ask me off the top of my head. The box doesn't say it because the box is actually from a custom ground, super huge, lumpy cam. But I'm not used to using a phone, so you can see how big and like wide and round this lobe and this lobe are. You can see the angle of separation. So keep that in mind. Now we're going to move over here. So as I rotate this, you can see that one. Nice and sharp. Same thing, it's sharp, and it's not as tall. So if you come back and we look at this one's a lot taller. Much, much taller. And it's a much rounder lobe. So those combined, what that means is I have a higher lift, and that rounded lobe. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to reset you back in the hole here so you can see what the hell I'm doing. Both those equate to a longer duration, which means the valves are open longer. kind of self-explanatory, and higher lift. So the bigger, taller lobes are higher lift. Tommy, I need the timing gear, please. Wherever that socket went, I'll probably have to find it after. So you see the recess? Okay. That goes on the cam. This is the front. So if you look, here's the timing mark. That's one on the crank too, and you just line the marks up. So, guess I can show you guys this too. There's a recess in this gear. It runs in here. I don't know how well that camera's picking it up. But yeah, there's a recess. There's obviously a dowel hole. So you line the dowel hole up. Sorry if my arm's in the way. Line it up. It'll slide right on. Take your bolts. There's a torque spec for these. Don't ask me what it is right now. I don't have the Haynes manual on me. Nor do I care to go look it up. Because I'm not actually torquing this thing right now. Figure I'll throw it in there finger tight. We'll slam some RPM on it, see what happens when it falls apart, and tell the wife I need a new motor because the big alternator screwed it up. And anyone that's watching knows my wife, knows that she's not that stupid. I wish she was some days, but unfortunately not. No dice. Okay, so here's why I put this gear back on. As you can see, I got leverage to turn it. But now, I can use my monkey mitts to fish my camshaft in using the gear as my installer handle. And now these big lobes, it's kind of a bitch to, there we go, feed it in. Ta-da! And I'm just spreading that lube in there. Lube in the shaft, spin it in the hole, you know. All the good things we all like to do. So my next step actually is going to be I'm going to have to pull this back off. I'm going to get these gears lined up first so the dowel and everything's sitting in the right spot. Then I got to put this whole thing in with the chain. I got to hook the chain on and put the gear in and get it all lined up, make sure my dots line up. There's 2 dots on here. I believe one is right there. Yeah, one is right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that straight down. And there's going to be dots on the crank. And now I got to turn this crank, which I'm going to just barely stick the harmonic balancer on there and crank it till I find them damn holes, which greasy fingers don't give you a good feeling. So, I'm not too sure. I'll find it. But there's another one. It's going to be on the valley. See how this one's on a peak? This one will be on a valley, so I'm going to line the 2 dots up, get the chain on there, cam and crank are timed. Now, most race engines are high-performance engines. Keep in mind, this is still a mostly stock motor. Been modded here and there. You're seeing some of the mods now. You can actually time your camshaft. There's a big thing that bolts on. It's a big timing plate that goes on, and you time your camshaft to your crank. I'm not doing that. I'm going right back to factory. I'm going to let the crank do its thing. It's timed in its own way. That's that. I should do it differently. I'm not. I need the harmonic balancer, please. So again, I'm not actually putting this on. I just want to crank everything over. Oh, I lied. They're on peaks together. You think it's going to be nice? Well, of course not. Oh, son of a bitch.
What?
I just come past the gear. Ah! Got it! Now my perfectionist let me fuck that up. Here's your harmonic balancer. Okay, so come hither. I'm taking random pictures. I'm gonna pause this. Sorry about that. Had to turn the light on. My phone would let me do it. Yeah, you can see I'm not quite dead on, but there's a dot there. There's a dot there. My camshaft is timed with. If I give this a little nudge. Oh, the dowel sitting there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3 back out because they're only hand tight. Like I said, I only use them to put the cam in. I'm going to put the chain around this gear, and then I'm going to stick the bottom on and rock everything on, line this dowel up, make sure my dots line up, which are those guys right there. And then we're going to kind of tighten it on. I'm not going to torque it right now because I might have to pull everything again. But that's it. Camshaft's in. You saw me pull one out. Now you see me put one in. Alright, I'm going to stick you over here. I'm actually going to turn the light off again. It doesn't want to turn off. Yes, you're stuck with the light on. Hopefully you don't die. Power is life. Ta-da! It's actually a good view. I'm going to shake the truck too much. My phone shouldn't go for a dive.
So you're taking just that off.
Put the chain on. Try and line those marks back up with the chain on, which it should. So before you pick that up, you make sure I put it back on because I want it to wear the same way. I want to make sure I have the right face facing the right way. So these bolts will go right here. So without turning the cam, pop that off. Now remember I said to put it face down a certain way? Because I want to know that I'm putting it this way. So to pick the chain up this way, which way the face is, I will take you, stick you on. So it just sits on there. I just wanted this face and this face used to be the same, but they still are. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to rotate this so that it's roughly, you can see where the dowel is down there. Yeah. So what I'm explaining to Tommy, guys, is that I had this face of the chain was with this face of the pulley, or the gear, pardon me. I wanted that to stay the same. Didn't want to dick it. Didn't want to just send her, so I made sure it's all the same. It's going to ride the same way it was before I took it apart. So now that it's on here, of course, when I put it on, I had the dowel hole, which is right there at the bottom, but the dowel here is on the side. So with the chain on there, I'm just going to rock it to the side, so it's roughly in the right orientation, as close as I can get. I'm going to pop the gear on there. Oh, off a tooth. And pop it back on. Try and get that dowel just right, which it's not cooperating because I'm rusty. Come on, dowel. There we go. It's on the dowel, however, it's not perfect. So I will, but it is lined up. I'm going to try and get a bolt started here. Hopefully it will.
See if I can twist lined up.
Just about got it here, guys. Threading them in by hand. Now that I got a dowel and a bolt, I know I'm good. Problem being is I'm not quite dead nuts on. But I'm going to throw the other bolts in there, see if I can adjust a little. Being off that much should not be an issue. Of course, I did not verify where it was sitting before. So it should not be an issue. However, if it is, pull it back apart anyways. So who gives a shit? Surprise! Of course, I don't have my Haynes manual right now. I don't have fuck on me right now. I'm flying by the seat of my pants in memory from the last time I pulled this piece of junk apart. And we're hoping for the best. Well, that's a little mangled. Half inch. That's not going to work because I mangled it. I had the other. Where the hell did that 13 mil go? Right here.
Oh, yeah, 13 yeah.
So I'm just going to sock these in so they're actually snug. I don't remember what the torque is. I know it's actually not a whole hell of a lot. So I don't want to go much more than just hand tight. Remember, if you're not torquing them correctly, don't overdo it. Okay, so I'm going to get somebody to pass me the harmonic balancing again, please. Now that's the other thing I'm hoping my wife will let me go pick up, is a new one with proper timing marks on it. Ta-da! The marks actually line up, which means I didn't fuck it up. So I must have turned it a little when I pulled everything apart. But as you can see, hopefully you can see from that spot, that dot, dead on. I mean, the chain's got a little slack in it. Typical for a Chevy. You know, got mechanic coming, GMC. So we're good. That's on. Camshaft is in. Now, I honestly don't know where I want to go from here. I'm stuck. I should probably drain the oil. I should probably start cleaning some stuff for paint. I gotta get another garbage bag on here to cover this thing, because I want to paint the cover. But I think I'm going to put the cover on for now. Problem with that is I need to pull the oil pan off to do this properly because of my fucking type of engine I have. One piece remains, or a pain in the ass. But on a side note, anyone that wants a TBI camshaft, rockers, push rods, and cam followers, 35,000K, hit me up, give me an offer. Yeah, so I'm going to stop recording for now, figure out where I want to go, see what we're going to do with this. And I'll talk to you soon.
What does it say, bud?
There it goes. Alright, so I wanted to show you guys. This is a neat little tool I've made. This is a flat pry bar. It's a wonder bar. That's usually what we call them. It's just Masscraft. I just cut it with a grinder. So I made a slot here for the stud, which is the rocker stud with the nut. And then this is a little wider for the retainer. This is actually what I use, wrong way, to pop retainers. And of course, this one's going to be a stubborn piece of junk. I'm going to stick my finger underneath to hold back best I can. That one's going to be super stubborn. For the sake of this video, I'd like one of them to not be stubborn. Now be careful doing this, you can fuck your studs up, but that being said, also generally, there we go. Now a smart man would have grabbed a screwdriver with a magnetic tip.
But we are neither of those.
Yeah. Good way to do it on the engine too. So now, as you can see, it's actually kind of half-assed stuck. Not a problem, because I can just put a socket on here and back it off. And it will not blow up in your face. In theory. At least up to this point, it hasn't. Now what I am hunting for, which I look like an idiot because that's just sitting there, is, oh, there's my ratchet. And a 5/8 socket. If I recall correctly, hey, look at that, they're 5/8. So I'm just going to back it off with the ratchet, very slowly. That was a couple of bolts I'll have to find after. See, now I've got this backed off. Just rock this guy back, pull him through. Mine's a little narrow for this. Originally I cut this one for doing LS springs. But, yeah. So, that was an exhaust, so I just popped the rotator off. And there's my factory springs. Of course, Chevy does a weird double spring bullshit kind of thing. And, yeah. So here's my valve. Part of my sealer seat's in there. It must be a stopper. But I need to do some measurements, see if I can get this all to fit and work for me with different springs. So I'll come back after I'm done doing that. I'll see you soon. Hey guys, sorry I got a little overexcited. Forgot to actually record this part. So this is the factory spring, which has this stupid little spring inside. This is an LS spring. Da-da-da-da. So as you can see, there's a lip in here. It's about probably 100 thou, give or take. That needs to be machined, so I'm going to lathe that off. I'm also going to shrink the actual diameter so that, oops, dropping things inside the head. So you can see the size difference, which is not huge, but these little retainers are the wrong angle. But see the size of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this fucker into this fucker with a lathe. And then I should be good. But yeah, so that's my new beehive spring. I just want to see what it looked like in there. Spring pressure is absolutely retarded. This one here, actually, we had a little bit of a mishap. I didn't pay attention when I put my neat little pry bar on, my little special tool I built. Forgot to mention, you got to make sure it's seated against the nut here. So like this one here, I can't even take off by hand, whereas this one I can. Well, what I did is when I went to put it on, I had backed this nut off and I left it up. So what happens is when you pull, it gets the leverage to pop off. And we had a bullet. I don't have the piece anymore. Tommy and I almost lost our head for this. So that's a no. But yeah, so if you use something like that pry bar I showed you, just make sure you have it knuckled all the way in as far as you can. And you tighten the nut down once it's on to hold tension. Then you can pull, and it'll actually, with enough tension, it will press this down and press it level, so you can put your keepers in, release it, then you can back your nut off and get the tool out. But yeah, so exhaust rotator. Well, that's where the exhaust rotator should have been. But it's not there anymore. So yeah, I'm going to make these. So I got to get rid of these and get some more of these, and no more of these, because obviously they are junk. I don't need them on top of my LS springs. They just get in the way. They get in the way. So now I've got to find somewhere to keep these, because I don't have a spring retainer to actually assemble it and keep it on there. These two are safe. That spring is garbage. And I think these are just going to get taped to a valve. It seems like the most apt way to do it. Sorry about the random focusing. My phone's camera's not the greatest. So as a recap, of course, camshaft is in and timed. Cam followers aren't going in yet. Not going to bother. Not till I go find a new high energy push rod to replace the one that's missing. So I can put all that in there when I put the heads on. But for now, here's the heads. There's one of the beehives. I have to do some measuring too. So when this is up all the way like it is, there's a tool that CompCam sells that shaves down this boss here and shaves down the valve seal. Like everything, or the valve guide, pardon me, so everything sinks down so I can get more lift. That's all cool, except for I think I'm going to try and make these retainers fit and give me the clearance I need. So I didn't do the math. I got to look it up again. I think I have a 0.525 lift, so 525 thou worth of lift with a 1.5 rocker. We will see. I got to do some measuring, do some fang dangling. And if you look in there, that valve actually doesn't look the greatest. It's not a very happy valve. So I do believe I had a bad seal problem in here. So we will see what I can get done. Of course, I have the roller tip rockers, and there's a little bit of a flare on some of these, and I don't like that. Just up here. Get rid of that. We'll do it. Sorry, used to the GoPro, not this thing. But yeah, I'm going to end up dismantling this. This will be a probably 2 or 3 episode series. Relap some valves in. Actually, I don't really think I need to lap them. When I pulled the intake valve, which is now held in, super steady, I'm not pulling that sucker out again. Oh, that's a wrench. But I pulled this guy out. This guy doesn't want to come out because he's stuck on that seal. So I'm going to have to order some new valve seals. Hopefully they'll show up before I get up there. If not, I'll just install them here in my garage before I put the heads on. Worst comes to worst, in the spark plug hole here, I'll put a shattered spark plug, put an air line on that'll hold them shut, and then I will install all my keepers and stuff once I know I've got my 550 thou clearance in here, give or take. So I'm going to go do some math, I'm going to figure some things out, let you know where we're at. I'm going to put the valve covers back on these because I don't want to lose shit. And I'm going to tape these two retainers to my valve. Alright, see you soon. Alright, so hands are kind of cleanish. We're now done. Engine monkey is all done. He helped me, we got the new camshaft in, which we had in the video. What we didn't show is installing the honeycomb valve spring. Kind of dangerous to do. I did launch, and I think I mentioned it earlier in one of the clips that I'm going to put in, that when you use my little makeshift valve spring compressor, you must tighten the bolt, loosen the bolt as you go so you can get it on an even plane. Like I said, and I'll go over it again probably in future when I'm tearing the heads down next week, that you have to cut that notch as far back as you can, and you got to get that pry bar actually seated so that when you pull it doesn't slip out, because the way those Wonder Bars are designed, it will actually pop out. That makes springs like bullets. We never did find the one exhaust rotator that I was trying to put back on, so I had to head all back to factory. It's gone. It was a bullet. It's probably inside the engine bay somewhere or inside some kind of cowl. It'll fall out when I drive. I don't give a shit. We locked out the distributor. I didn't do a video on that. I have to take it apart to clean it. Unfortunately, with it sitting for so long and the vent being open, it did corrode inside, so I've got to take a wire brush and brush it all. That point, I will show you guys how the MSDs lock out. Purpose for locking out is so that the throttle body can control the timing fully. The way the MSDs work, they can't actually add timing. They can only take timing away. So I will set my timing with the boost. I'll probably set it to 32 or 30 degrees and lock it out. And then the computer will control the timing curve. I'll go more into that later. And I will show screenshots of my programs I have from MSD for tuning my throttle body. I got to learn them a little bit, so I'm going to play a little bit with the SD card that's in my handheld controller. We'll go over that later. Balancer is off. You guys saw that. Camshafts in. I showed kind of the comparison between the two camshafts. What else did we do?
I think that's about it.
That's about it. There's a lot of dicking around just to kind of fight with things. You saw me cut that vertical out of my truck. I'm going to cut it a little nicer. Actually, you didn't see it, but you saw the aftermath. I'll show you the piece in the next video. I think I'm just going to go and clean gaskets tomorrow is all I'm going to need to do. Pick up some razor blades and just scrape everything so it's all clean. I might wire brush and clean up the covers tomorrow. Maybe go buy a can of spray paint. Spray paint them a GM Blue. We'll see. What else did we have on the chopping block that I kind of wanted to get done?
I mean, today I think we got everything done that you wanted to do. Exhaust. Eventually.
Still gotta buy the damn Sawzall blade,
Yeah.
cut the fucking exhaust off, get that thing out. I gotta clean up, actually organize. I'm gonna take a 2x6 from work tomorrow. I'm gonna cut and make a little holder. I'll probably bring the GoPro with me. I'm gonna be up there. I will remember the keys so I can get the damn suction cup. You guys weren't on the suction cup. You're actually on a machined piece of steel I made when I did my machining school at NEAT. So I'll show you. So this would be the case. This is just an adapter. It's actually meant for a camera base to go on. This threads on to a different base. Goes, but I just taped it on and I just kind of jimmy rigged the case on here. I just hold the nut, tighten this on. Stand up the GoPro. This threads into what the camera's actually sitting on right now. I'm not going to move it because I happen to get the aim right. But yeah, I can kind of adjust the height and whatnot within the 2 inches of thread here. And it just sits there. It was sitting on the brake booster tonight. I will probably mount this bracket onto the shelf. I just got to drill a hole where this can just kind of thread in. And then I can stick it up on the shelf so it's farther away. I don't mind it being on the brake booster. I found that was a pretty good spot. We didn't knock it, didn't bang it. Any other shenanigans we're kind of planning? Pretty soon we'll start working on his truck again. We'll get back to Project Sierra. He did just pick up for $300. Got a full Beltec, sorry, 4.6 or DJM, sorry.
DGM, yeah.
DJM 4.6 drop. So it has the swap kit for the rear, the 2-inch drop spindles, 2-inch drop coils.
C-notch.
And the C-notch. That's right.
C-notch comes with it.
That's right. And the shocks and everything. So it's a full kit. So when he gets that, I think I'm going to get him to drag it all the way over here. We'll lay it out in my living room and we'll do a bit of a show of kind of what's in those kits so you guys can see that. So you guys are actually on the Project Sierra side of things, possibly on mine when my tax money comes in, if we get our bills cleared and I get the okay from my boss, which is my wife. I might be buying a 4-link kit and the 2.4 drop for the front. I was talking to her about it earlier. She's okay with me lowering the truck while it's in. She'd rather me only have it apart this one last time before I do the new engine. When I do the new engine, we're doing 12-point harnesses, or 12-point roll cage, pardon me, the 4-point or 5-point harnesses. I'm remounting the seats as is. I will probably put 4 points in it, or put at least a 4-point cage in there so I can mount the harnesses properly. His truck, I don't think we're going to do harnesses because he has bench seats. But he only does have the crew cab, so it's not like he has a full 4-door. So if we need to get someone in the back, the harness bar that would be there would actually be in the way for someone to climb back there. And the truck isn't really meant to be faster than 11 seconds. Project Sierra was... Actually, I'll let you tell where that truck kind of came from.
Yeah, more or less, my grandpa bought that thing in '93. They used it for their company, VDM Trucking. After my grandpa kind of retired from that, he ended up using it for hauling horses. So that truck, I think, almost every day of my childhood was loaded up with hay bales in the box and a 2-horse trailer with 2 horses in the back. It had a very fucking hard life. So far, so good, though. I mean, we did head gaskets on it. I got a guy I met, name's Kyle Mack. He does good transmissions. He rebuilt the transmission on that. Anyways, more or less, I wanted to build that truck kind of... You know, my grandpa's still with us, but I want to build it in memory of him. I mean, he trusted that truck with his livelihood. And more or less, I want to restore the body anyway to something that, you know, he might like. It's got a bit of my taste in it. But he's always wanted to restore that truck, so we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Hopefully he likes it. And
yeah, well, that's what we're hoping. And that's what I was talking about, where we're doing a cab swap. We're taking the old interior, putting it into a newer cab. Apparently they do bolt across. We just got to change some lower stuff. It's getting a full custom paint job. Don't want to say what we're doing with that. You'll see that as we go. It is now a step side box to the fleet side, which we're doing. And then, of course, we're going to put his drop kit in there, and you guys are going to get to see that. Other than that, I think for this year, that's about it.
mainly looks on that truck.
Yeah, that one's all show, not so much go. Later in the year, we've been floating the idea of taking the TBI off and carbureting that motor. If we do, the bottom end's really high mileage, and like we said, was worked very, very hard. So we're thinking about doing a basic rebuild, maybe a 10-over bore, some new rings. See how the bearings are in the bottom. I'll probably get new bearings, get everything. Just get a very basic, bare bones rebuild. Put some Vortec heads and a carburetor on top. Apparently, as long as we just take the TBI stuff off, tape it away out of the way, we can put a carb on it. The gauges will still work. That's the ultimate end goal. We do have long tube headers for it, which I think we're going to wait till we have new heads for it to put on.
Yeah.
As this motor does burn oil, it's not the greatest. He's running AMSOIL XL series, I believe, and a 1040 weight in his. It's a high mileage motor, need a little thicker oil so it wouldn't burn. But yeah, I mean, it's worn out. It's got 370,000.
I'm almost 380.
Almost 380. There you go. And most of that quarter ton was used, or half ton, pardon me, was used more like a 1 ton.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's down the line. Kyle Mack did his tranny. I'm hoping Kyle Mack will do my next performance tranny, which will be the one that goes in this truck over the next couple years as I build the new motor. We will do a series on his engine as well. Once we do all his work, we'll do a proper series on that for just doing the swap over from the TBI. Any TBI guys that want to get power out of your motor, we'll show you how to carb swap it and show you the do's and don'ts as we find out the don'ts as we go along.
Yeah.
Hopefully there won't be too many. Hopefully everything I've read up, and we have a buddy of ours has a TBI he's been reading up as well, sent me some links, so we're hoping that will all work out.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe next video might be working on your truck, doing something. Maybe we'll do that stupid resistor on your fan switch.
Yeah, I could do that.
We could do a video on that. Just to show people that in his it's a lot easier than in mine. They're the exact same airbox, same everything. It's just the dash in my wife's Yukon is stupidly tight to it, whereas his we just pull the bottom of the glove box out.
Yeah, you pull the glove box out and you have perfect access to it.
Yeah, and then we might do a. I've given Tommy an older, it's just a Sony Explode, a piece of junk CD player, but it's better than his factory radio. So I think maybe when you get the dash kit, we'll do a video on that too, just to show things at a DIY standpoint.
Yeah, yeah.
I think his might actually fluky enough. I think that deck came out of my old 88, which is the same dash that's in his 93, and I think it still has the Chevy hookups on it. So we might get lucky. I'll show you the color coding and stuff. You can look that all up online. They're super simple. There's good instructions with these kits, but his is probably plug and play minus the dash kit we got installed, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And then trying to think anything else we might do. Might do a 4-link video, I guess, if I get the 4-link.
Yeah, if you get the 4-link, yeah.
So we'll do a 6.4 drop on my truck with the 4-link. It'll be the same in the front end, 2-inch drop spindles, 2-inch drop coils. Yeah, but I guess for now, I mean, this may be my last video for this week, unless I'm doing some painting, which I'll show you guys. I'll just have to roll my truck back a little bit inside the garage so I have a little more room up front to work. I'll probably rig some chairs up with something in there so I can paint on that. Or close my hood, and I'll get all the tools finally put away, all the crap that keeps falling in the video. Get rid of that, put it all away, and I'll close my hood and just cover it over with a blanket or something so I can paint on top of the hood. But I'll show you kind of the do's and don'ts with that as well. I've done a lot of painting. I'm doing all of Tommy's painting on his truck. That'll be super cool. We'll show you how to do that on a budget as well. Both our trucks are budget builds. I mean, as you saw in my first video, I have some very high-end parts, but unfortunately I got cornered with what I could use on my engine for what I'm doing. So I had to spend more money. With his, we can do a true budget build because he's not getting cornered because he's not doing the extreme that I'm doing. So we get to play the balance the checkbook game, I guess would be the best way to put it. We are doing a cowl hood on his truck. That'll be a fun, probably 2 or 3 videos to do.
One of our trucks.
One of our trucks, yeah. He bought a cowl. I sent him a link. No impulse control. So he bought the cowl, never measured his hood. I have a feeling it's a couple inches long. So we may trim the cowl to fit his hood, or I may just buy it off and put it on my hood. And then we'll get the proper cowl for his. We'll see where that goes. What else are we doing with mine soon? I guess not much, unless you want to come help me gut my truck. Because that's always a fun job.
Move it around, take the doors off.
Yeah, we have to take the doors off. Like I said, I'm not doing a big video on that, guys. Sorry. I think I looked, there's 25 videos on how to remove doors on square bodies of different generations. I'm not doing a full in-depth video. We don't need another one of those out there. The guys that did them on YouTube did a good job. They show you everything. I'll show you how I kind of get snagged on mine. I already know where I'm going to get snagged, which is where my wiring comes through because I'm a power door. That'll be about the most in-depth I get. And how to remove the barn doors. But I mean, other than that, not a big deal. But I guess for now, that'll be it for tonight. And we will see you next episode.
Yeah.